I'm going. It
We're
only took
finally,
20, 20 hours of
yeah,
an
finally
hour to
set
get
up.
back on. Oh
But
man,
the red light is on, and we
the
are
red light.
recording.
Yeah, it only took us a while, like an hour to get this thing going.
Jeez,
God, I
jeez,
mean,
man.
it was so crazy, man. What's going on, Daniel?
Hey, what's going on? Hello, everyone out there.
Yes.
Yes,
Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of the Av Files. I'm your host, Av, as always, and I'm joined once again by none other than Daniel. What's up,
what's
man?
going on, man? It's good. It's good to finally be back. I know. Listen, the snow has melted. Um, and we are current now. We are here. We are here. It is spring break, and
It is.
yeah, man. I'm about to be into full spring break. I think our son gets on spring break on the 14th, 15th. No. Middle of next week. Middle of
So,
next
do
week.
they,
It's a
so, do
weird.
your,
It's a weird schedule.
so does your kid? So next week they're on spring break, and they start basically in the middle of the week, and they
Yeah.
have like that little bit of the week off, and then they come back Monday or like
No, they
Tuesday.
come into another middle of the week. It's the weirdest. It makes no sense. Like they split the week up.
Why do they do
So
that?
it's like I have no idea. I would absolutely hate to be with have this schedule as a kid. Like I go half of the week to school and then I mean at least I get the weekend, but then I jump right back into school for the like 2 days. Like it's so weird. I hate that. I hate that. I wish teachers had more pull because I know they hate it too. That
Oh
must suck
yeah, it's like
because it's like, wait, we have the kids until a Wednesday, so we have to be pretend on like you're about to gear up for a what a week off, and it's like you're already on vacation mode during that week. So it's like
yeah,
it's pointless.
that's crazy,
It's
man.
it's pointless. I don't know why they don't just give them the full week. There must be a reason. Maybe snow days.
There's
I'm not
now the
sure.
snow days they get
Tacked
added
on
to
the
the
end.
end of the year.
Yeah, that's wild though, man. That's wild. So anyway, yeah, that's I'm about to be in spring break mode, which is nice because we the family and I are going to go to Legoland
Oh,
in
cool.
New York. So that should be fun. That should be very fun. Um, and yeah, we have loads of stuff to like get to. You know, I loads. It's never a dull moment out here for sure. But
Are you guys driving up there? Or you guys taking the train?
yeah, no, I think we're driving. We're gonna drive up there. It's gonna be a very long day, but it'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's just the way to do it. I'm not gonna stay in New York. You couldn't pay me enough to stay in New York. Um, so it should be fun when we get there. I've never been, obviously, but it should be good for him. I just have to pack an extra $1,000 in case he wants anything. I'm assuming
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
Legos are so expensive. I don't know if they've always been expensive, but some of these costs for Legos are absolutely crazy.
yeah.
Like
No, yeah. Legos are like
I never
stupid
thought
expensive.
I never thought they were that much. I never thought they were that much, maybe because I never paid attention to it, right? But man, that dude is making money. Mr. Lego, Senor Lego, up in his Lego mansion is making some money for
Thank
sure.
you for your service, Mr. Lego Man.
Yeah, Mr. Lego man. Yeah, yeah. Just because the sets, even at like the big box stores, like the cheap stores, like Walmart, right? You look at the top shelf, the Lego sections are like hundreds of dollars, and I'm like, why? I don't know. I don't know, but
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, people like them. They're pretty cool, but man, people like them. I don't. I like them. I think they're. I actually think they're pretty cool, especially like the Star Wars ones. But
oh
they're
yeah,
too expensive, man. I can't buy that
they're
stuff.
so expensive. We bought a TIE fighter because
Ooh, that's cool.
we we downloaded the Lego Star Wars game, which is by far the one of the best Lego games out there. It's just super fun, but he got into it, and so we're like, oh Jesus, we set down that path, and then we downloaded the Lego Batman. So we're full Lego. We got Lego Marvel too on the Nintendo Switch.
There you go.
So
That's awesome.
so we're all Legoed out, man. So he's excited for it. He's excited for it. I am here for it. I mean, it's his life. I'm just living in it.
Yeah, yeah, that's
So,
how it is, man. That's how it is now.
what
You got
about you, man? It's been a minute. People don't know it has been a while since we've done one of these.
yeah, it has been a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, just working. That's it, man. That's
Yeah.
all I do. Work.
Yep. Work and work.
Come
So,
make a little bit of money and work. That's it. And
and then we do this for fun.
and then yeah, and then when I can, I do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which
Believe it
is
or
fun.
not, guys. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Until soon, someday, this will be our full time gig.
Yeah,
I'm saying
hopefully
it. I'm
soon. Like I
speaking
said,
it
hey,
into
eh,
existence.
speaking of full time gigs, please like and subscribe and share all this crap. Leave a comment, do all that shit,
Yeah.
please. It's gonna help us out because
Yeah.
eventually, we're all going together. This is all. This is for everybody. We're all going
Exactly.
together. We're
Co-
going to the promised land.
costs nothing for you, but it means everything to us.
Right. Right.
Exactly. So, what are we talking about today, bro?
Oh, okay. So on today's episode, we'll be talking about one of the most chilling and controversial serial murder cases in Atlanta's history. We're talking about Wayne Williams and the Atlanta child murders. And for nearly 2 years, fear gripped the city of Atlanta, and dozens of young African American boys and young men went missing or were never found. Uh,
That's terrifying. You know,
yeah,
that's that's something right there, man, that terrifies me to the bone. Like killing kids, man. Like, yeah, it just terrifies me in a different level of like there's a murder in our city. Like, no, there's a murder in our city that's hunting the children. Yo, guess what? No one's ever playing outside again. Period.
yeah, it's a totally different, like, beast right there. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how anyone can do stuff like
No.
that. I don't
Mm-mm.
get it. I don't get it. But it was a little this case is a little weird too. Got to have a little
Okay.
weirdness to it. You
Okay.
know. So Wayne Williams is an American man who, at the time of his arrest, was 23 years old. He was convicted of 2 murders and linked to several others during a notorious crime spree that was later known as the Atlanta child murders, which took place between July 1979 and May 1981. Williams was born on May 27th, 1958, and before his arrest, he worked as a freelance photographer with his father and was supposedly like a music promoter
Okay.
in the area for like local kids and stuff like that. And he was around. Uh, Back then, they had like roller skating rings and stuff like that, and
Got it. Okay.
arcades and stuff. And he was trying to be with hanging out with all these kids and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was the summer of 1979, July, in Atlanta, Georgia, a city caught in the throes of transformation. While the skyline climbed higher and businesses flourished, it was a city brimming with the growth of opportunity. But for many African American communities, economic struggles and racial tensions still lingered. Against this backdrop, something sinister was unfolding. Children began disappearing. Now, in the 70s, so obviously it was in the time of, like, racial tensions, white, black, and all that stuff. And
Did those riots happen? When were the riots? Like in Cali? Or did it
they had riots in yeah, in California and LA, the LA riots.
yeah, was that them? Was that during that time?
I think it's
Like,
around that same time,
okay.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I because it's hard when you talk about these dates is to like get in the mindset of what's happening during that time in the country. It's like you have to see this when it transpired, right? You can't just nowadays that's ridiculous. Well, nowadays isn't then. So it's going to be interesting to see because we still kind of had phones, no cell phones, nothing like that yet.
Right,
So, oh, okay. And I think you could still walk around without leaving a massive digital footprint in the 70s. I think it was getting hard. It started getting harder to do with video cameras and shit like that. But I feel like 70s, you could still kind of get away with um, leaving a small digital footprint then. Now everyone, I mean, Starlink, all that shit knows exactly what you're doing before you do it.
All right. Well, so the Watts riots that happened, it was actually in 1965.
Okay. So it's still
That was,
fresh. All that stuff is still fresh.
yeah,
Like,
it's still around that time. There, I mean, remember, there was a lot of racist stuff was
yeah,
going on with minorities and police brutality. We didn't have phones with video cameras. We didn't have video cameras. Um, be able to like record. Cops weren't
yeah,
wearing body cameras or anything. They didn't have anything like that. So it was always cops' word against yours, and your word never meant anything. They
exactly.
always took the cops' word, no matter what.
Yep.
Well, unless you were a white guy, you get away with a lot more. If you were, a black guy or Spanish guy, uh, more than
Yeah.
likely you're not. You're gonna just get
Yeah.
your ass
Even if you were
broken.
reporting the crime, you'd probably be put away for that crime.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not. But yeah, that happened then. Yeah, it was a lot of.
So
Uh,
less than a decade had passed. Um,
yeah,
so it's still, I would say a decade is still fresh. Within a decade is still fresh.
yeah. I was a little over that. I mean, it was 79, so I mean, those were in what I say 65.
Yeah.
So still, I mean, there was still tension. I mean, come on,
Yeah, for sure.
a,
I
a
mean,
lot of
plus
that
it's
stuff didn't
Georgia.
go away overnight after
Yeah.
those riots were
Yeah.
over and all the protests all over and everything like that too. So
Yeah.
everything was still there was still a lot of tension. I mean, especially in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know they had like a bunch of like racist stuff going on there
Yeah.
too. So yeah, it was the summer of '79, July, in Atlanta, Georgia. Something or someone sinister stirred in the shadows. It began quietly, almost unnoticed at first. In July, 14-year-old Edward Smith disappeared, and 4 days later, 13-year-old Alfred Evans vanished. On July 28th, their bodies were discovered in a wooded area. Edward had a 22 caliber gunshot wound in his upper back, while Alfred had been strangled. They were believed to be the first victims of the Atlanta child killer. Atlanta shivered, but no one could have known that this was only the beginning. But a couple months later, on September 4th, the next victim, 14-year-old Milton Harvey, disappeared while on an errand to the bank for his mother. He was riding a bike, which was found a week later in a remote area in Atlanta. His body was not recovered until November of that year. That
Cool.
was another thing. Like some of these kids, like they disappeared. They didn't find them. Some of them they found like sooner than others. I mean,
That's
it's just crazy.
crazy, dude.
And
Yeah.
and remember too, this is like 79, 80s. Your mother says, "Hey, I need you to go to the store and grab me some milk and eggs."
Yeah.
Gives you the money. You go to the store and go get milk and eggs, and you come back. It was no big deal.
Yep.
No one really thought too much of it,
Mhm.
about running to the store, local store, whatever, and getting some little bit of groceries or something. On October 21st, 9-year-old Yusuf Bell went to the store uh, for a neighbor. He went to Reese Grocery on McDaniel Street. A witness said she saw Yusuf near the intersection of McDaniel and Fulton getting into a blue car before he disappeared. His body was found on November 8th in the abandoned E.P. Johnson Elementary School by a school janitor who was looking for a place to urinate. Bell's body was found clothed in the brown cutoff shorts he was last seen wearing, though they had a piece of masking tape stuck to them. He had been hit over the head twice, and the cause of death was strangulation. Police did not immediately link his disappearance to the previous killings. That was another thing too. Like again, this is the '80s, early '80s, late '70s. A lot of this they didn't figure
Like
serial killers
they
as much.
weren't building databases yet. They were
No,
like
not so much. And
they were just okay.
yeah, and even I want to say even like up until recently, um a lot of the police is like the different sheriffs and police departments wouldn't share information with each other.
No, right? Yeah, because it's like all you had to do to kind of be like, let's say, safe was go over the state line. and
Yeah,
that's like that ends the communication
right.
completely. There's
So
no
you could have, yeah,
that's yeah, you're right.
yeah. They would not. I mean, I don't. I think it was more of an ego thing or pride or something because they wanted to be the ones to like catch the whoever the perpetrator was, whoever the killer was, or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. They wanted to be the one to catch the person, so they wouldn't share information with each other.
Hmm.
Which, had they done that decades earlier, they probably would have been able to stop a lot of these serial killers, a lot of these murders and stuff from happening.
Because how many times have you seen it in like these cold case type movies or these documentaries where it's like the detective, usually a federal agent, has to pull records from different police stations, police forces, that have individual like dockets on this in like this killer, right? And
Yeah,
it's like not until you pull all of them do they get a full picture, full idea of what was going on. And it's
right.
like if the police had access to that, that would have possibly expedited things.
And I'm pretty sure also it wasn't just like Maryland State Police wouldn't share information with Virginia
Maybe
State
like
Police. It was like
Gaithersburg and like
county.
yeah,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it would have been like Gaithersburg isn't sharing with Germantown. And like all you have to do is just give each other just a little bit of information.
that probably is because of freaking funding and inner politics. That's probably what's
It's
happening.
definitely inner politics, but it's you know it was just crazy. It was just
That's
crazy how
nuts.
like a lot of this stuff could have been solved so much faster.
I mean, but at that time, like how many countless could have been solved? You know what I mean?
Oh,
Probably
so many.
like like yeah, a stupid amount, which is unfortunate.
So where we go from here? All right. So on March 4th, 1980, the first female victim, 12-year-old Angel, disappeared. She left her house around 4 p.m. wearing a denim outfit and was last seen at a friend's house watching the television program Sanford and Son. Angel's body was found 6 days later in a wooded vacant lot along Campbellton Road, wearing the same clothes in which she had left home. A pair of white underwear that did not belong to Angel were stuffed in her mouth, and her hands were bound with an electrical cord. The cause of death was strangulation. March 11th, 1 week after Angel's disappearance, 11-year-old Jeffrey Mathis disappeared while on an errand for his mother. He was wearing gray jogging pants, brown shoes, and a white and green shirt. Months later, a girl said she saw him get into a blue car with a light skinned man and a dark skinned man. The body of Jeffrey was found in a patch of like wooded land, like wooded area, 11 months after he disappeared, but by which time it was not possible to identify a cause of death. He had been
Wow.
out there for so long.
That is
Um,
crazy. So
yeah.
now you introduce a duo that's doing this.
So now, supposedly, now remember what they always say is a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of witness testimony, witness what they see isn't always
what they
100%
see.
credible
Got it.
because you know they hear something, they remember something else, and whatever. But I mean, yeah, now that apparently there's two, right?
Hmm.
And it's not the first time that that's been mentioned. On
Wow.
May 18th, 15-year-old Eric Middlebrooks disappeared. He was last seen answering the telephone at home and then leaving in a hurry on his bicycle, taking with him a hammer to repair the bicycle. His body was found the following day next to his bike in the rear garage of an Atlanta bar. The bar was located next door to what was then the Georgia Department of Offender Rehabilitation.
Holy shit.
Right, which is pretty odd, right?
Yeah.
His pockets were turned inside out. His chest and arms had slight stab wounds, and the cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head. A few weeks before he disappeared, Middlebrooks had testified against three juveniles in a robbery case. So that a question mark right there, right?
Huh.
Was
Okay.
it the same person, or was it somebody else or other people that were getting back at him for
That's
snitching?
an odd one, right? I feel like that
Mhm.
doesn't that's the one so far from what from what you've said, right, is the one that doesn't fit the puzzle. That's like that puzzle piece that like we don't know if that'll fit until later.
Right. On the 9th of June, 12-year-old Christopher Richardson went missing on his way to a local pool. He was last seen walking towards the recreation center in Midway Park. He was wearing blue shorts, a light blue shirt, and blue tennis shoes. His body was not found until the following January, clothed in unfamiliar swimming trunks, along with the body of a later victim, Earl Terrell. Cause of Richard's death was not determined.
Wait,
June
so they found
22nd.
two bodies? I'm sorry. They
Yeah,
found two bodies when they found
yeah.
him?
Hmm.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was, yeah, along with the body of later victim Earl Terrell. Yeah, they were found. Um, and that was the thing is like they're looking for one body and they might find somebody else.
That's crazy. So every amount of woods in the Atlanta area is just have bodies, I'm assuming now.
Yeah, I mean, and but not just like body. It's like these are kids.
That's oh
These
my
are like 12
god.
year old kids, right?
Yeah, they're all like 12. They're all 12s of what, 14?
Hmm.
Oh man.
Some of them were younger. Uh, June 22nd, 7-year-old Latanya Wilson disappeared from her parents' apartment. This one's weird. According to a witness, she appeared to have been abducted by two men, one of whom was seen climbing into the apartment window and then holding Wilson in his arms as he spoke to the other man in the parking lot. On October 18th, Wilson's body was found in a fenced-in area at the end of Verbena Street in Atlanta. By then, the body had skeletonized and no cause of death could be established.
Whoa.
See, that's weird.
I mean, that's okay. That's just
Like somebody broke into her house, grabbed
to
her,
to
or
kidnap
grabbed her,
her.
right, kidnapped her, and like took uh took her out and handed her to somebody else, and they got in the car. And remember, now everyone's talking about this like blue looking car.
Like that's wild. Like that's such a different. I obviously know nothing about like criminal profiling at all, or else I wouldn't be here. I'd be had a job in some freaking
You mean
office.
Quantico?
Yeah, it'd be different. But like it just doesn't fit. Like, okay, you have the one person that possibly had grudges, that didn't fit. Now this that doesn't fit like the whole they didn't grab the person off their bike or en
Mhm.
route. Like they went and found that person, that child, and kidnapped them.
In their home, so they knew when the parents weren't there,
That's
right?
see, like that's to me, that's when like the criminals get like ballsy and confident. Like that's not good. To me, that screams of scoping out a place for
You're
sure.
right. They were watching. They had to have been watching,
Yeah, they
right?
had to have been watching.
Or
Mm,
or watching, or and like they always say, a lot of times these people, they'll know their victims.
holy shit, yeah.
Like she might have, he might have seen the family around town or something like that, right? And they might have known who it was.
God.
You know.
Hmm. That's
Um,
that's crazy.
so the next day, June 23rd, 10-year-old Aaron disappeared after having been seen near a local grocery store getting into, again, a blue Chevrolet with either one or two black men. A female witness says she saw Aaron being led from Tanner's Corner Grocery by a 6 foot tall, 180-pound black male, approximately 30 years old, with a mustache and goatee. The witness's description of the car matched the description of a similar car implicated in the earlier Jeffrey Mathis disappearance. At 6 p.m., Aaron was seen at a shopping center. Following day, Aaron's body was found under a bridge. The official cause of death was asphyxiation from a broken neck suffered in a fall, which sounds fucking painful.
Holy
Um,
crap.
yeah. In July 1980, two more children, 9-year-old Anthony Carter and 10-year-old Earl Terrell, were murdered. Clifford Jones, age 13, disappeared on August 20th. He was found dead from strangulation. His body was found on August 21st behind a dumpster in the rear of a former Hollywood Plaza shopping center. Darren Glass, age 10, was reported missing on September 14th. His body was not recovered, has not been recovered.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So that's one like
But
missing. Like,
so then how did they
cool.
tie that to the dude?
So I'm guessing like okay, all these kids are disappearing like within the same
Okay.
area.
Yeah. So they just grouped him in.
I mean, yeah, like
Okay.
around the same age. It's another black boy in the same area. We're like, I mean, I guess in a way you kind of figure like he had to
Yeah.
have done it, right?
Like nothing else was out there like taking these kids out. So this
Right,
is probably more than likely what happened.
right.
Wow. That's
Uh,
oh, that sucks for the family.
oh no, I
You're
know
like,
it's terrible.
oh, just oh, that's terrible. I couldn't imagine the feeling of it's just crazy. Yeah.
12-year-old Charles Stevens was reported missing on October 9th. His body was found the next day on Norman Berry Drive near the entrance to a trailer park. Um, Stevens' body was missing his t shirt and one of his shoes, but he was still wearing his dark blue pants. Police determined that his cause of death was asphyxiation. Rub marks were also identified on his nose and mouth. Dog hairs and two Caucasian head hairs were found on the body, along with two pubic hairs, which did not belong to him. Oh, and then apparently didn't belong to Wayne Williams, and which were found in his boxers 950 feet away from his body. The state considered this a pattern case in Williams' trial. Aaron Jackson, age 9, went missing on November 1st. His body was discovered the next day, strangled, laying face up in a riverbank. And then Patrick Rogers, age 16, knew several of the previous victims. He went missing on November 30th, and his body was found on December 7th in the Chattahoochee River. Police speculated that he was dropped from the bridge above.
Holy shit. How many kids is that so far then?
Oh man, I lost count.
My God. So they're just with this last murder, they're just putting like a profile together, or they haven't even mentioned like
I don't even think at like this time that
they're like
they
connecting.
yeah. I don't even think that they were really like put a profile together. Like I don't
That's
even think at this time profiles weren't a thing.
that's
Um,
crazy though. You have kids dropping like flies
right,
n- and no one's just like, could it be the same person?
right.
I,
Yeah, exactly.
has a serial killer not come through that area before? Like you would think that's a hot spot for serial killers.
You know what? Actually, when you say that, hold on, because I'm not even sure. Let me see something.
I just feel like a place that they just don't know how to handle it, or they just don't know what to look for. Like,
So,
hey,
okay, now around that time, the term serial killer is fairly new. So it's not like it is today. Like, everyone thinks, oh, it must be a serial killer, like right
yeah,
off the
like
bat.
you get three bodies in a row from an
Serial killer,
area. That's
serial killer, right,
that's serial killer. I think by
right.
definition. I think.
By definition, three bodies that's a serial killer. So the term serial killer was popularized by FBI Special Agent Robert Ressler in the 1970s. While the concept of serial murder existed long before, Ressler is credited with popularizing the term in his work with the FBI's Behavioral Science Unit. So it wasn't until the 70s that
Wow.
that term actually started coming out, and it was being used more and more. So to say, "Oh, there's a serial killer," probably would have been a little weird. People
Like, what are you
hearing that
talking
that
about? What are you talking
yeah,
about?
like, what do you mean, like, serial killer? What? Like, what?
And I
Um,
wonder if it's because kids are disappearing and ending up murdered. Does that fall in a different jurisdiction? Like, you know how police have all different types of jurisdiction, the different branches within itself, like different offices that they
mhm.
specialize in. And I wonder if it's like a minor crime, like in a whole different unit takes
Not
that,
like
or
a
is it
minor
just
not like a minor crime, like, oh, you stole a piece of gum. More like minor as in child.
Yes, yes, yes. Like, not like with a pickaxe and a shovel, not minor, not that minor either. No,
Yeah, not
like,
seven dwarfs.
yeah, that's no, exactly. So, not that. So I
No,
wonder if it was like a juvenile, like, department that
I.
handled
You know
that.
what? Again, I think something like this is just so out of the norm that they probably didn't even have something like that at their department.
I mean, that, but yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that's nuts because it's looking at it now, right? You're just like, now we have that. We have that and more, you
Right,
know?
right,
We have people for that.
right.
And but then the people weren't there. I think the people that make those units up now were born.
Yeah, I mean, it took forever, not well, not forever, but it took a long time and countless
Yeah.
kids to disappear and things happen to them for like to for them to say, oh, you know what? I think we need a department for this
Which is
type of
sad.
crime.
It's just
Yeah,
absolutely
but I
terrifying.
mean that usually
Terrible. But
happens anyway. I mean,
yeah.
again, which is sad, but nothing. You don't think about having a SWAT team until, oh
Until you need
man,
it.
this is like,
Until you need
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, I think we should probably get a group of guys together that can like go in and just take this fucker out.
But that's wild though that like they because I'm with you. You know, probably there had to have been people that are like, you know what, this shit's happening. It's dropping, like, people are dropping, like, not people, but kids are dropping like flies. What the hell? I mean, granted, if you look at all of Atlanta, right, you're talking, there's a lot of stuff happening in Atlanta, not just kids going missing and kids
Yeah,
dying. There's bodies are coming up on the daily. I would say it's like war zone, like Baltimore,
yeah.
you know. So it's I from a small town person's point of view, it could be a massive dent. Like, how are you not seeing this? Then again, there's a lot more than kids just getting unalived.
Oh no, there is a lot more.
It had to have been Atlanta. I feel like I had to have been up in the top 10 at one point. Dangerous.
I think there was at a time where they were. It was like, ooh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
dangerous. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Um, So the city was gripped by fear and confusion. Parents kept their children indoors, and community leaders demanded answers. As the months stretched into years, children, mostly young black boys ranging from 7 to 17, began to disappear at an alarming rate. Some were last seen heading to the store, others on their way home from a friend's house. Flyers plastered on light poles begged for help. For nearly 2 years, Atlanta was held hostage by terror. By early 1981, the count had risen to 29 victims, children,
Holy.
teenagers, and even a few young adults. Most of the bodies were found in rivers, woods, or abandoned lots, many showing signs of strangulation or asphyxiation. Some were even bludgeoned to death. The city became a boiling pot of frustration and grief as authorities seemed powerless to stop the killings. I mean, these kids just kept popping up.
Like,
They were
that's
just like, they get a call. My son has not returned from the store. It's been, it was yesterday, 2 days ago. They go and
holy.
look and they find it. You
That's
know,
like, see, like, you talk about terror. That's it. Adults killing adults. Unfortunately, that's tale as old as time. But when
yeah,
kids start getting killed, like, dude, man, that's fear. That's
yeah.
fear, man.
So rumors swirled, fueled by racial tensions and mistrust of the police. Some whispered of a white supremacist conspiracy, others of a ritualistic killer. Community meetings became heated, and the press relentlessly covered each tragic discovery. The FBI joined the investigation, but leads were few and far between. The murders continued into 1981. First known victim of the new year was 14-year-old Louis Getter, who disappeared on January 3rd. Uh, and Getter's body was found on February 5th. That's a month later.
That's
Um,
nuts.
Getter's friend, 15-year-old Terry, went missing in January, An anonymous caller told the police where to find his body. Terry lived in the same apartment as Edward Teddy Smith, who was killed in 1979. So is that like a tie-in, or is that just a coincidence? You know
The
what I
fact
mean?
that he actually had a caller call in, that's the difference. So is this person
Anonymous
just
caller. Like, I mean, that's kind of
that was
weird.
the killer. That was 100% the killer. Like 100% that's the killer.
I
Like
mean, hey, it could have been. Sometimes the killers do stuff like that.
it's the only lead they've had.
So
Unless like
do you think the killer wanted them to find the body?
what depends. I don't know too much. Like it. You know, I at I would definitely think it's at this point in this tale of misery and death. I definitely feel like the what is it? The cult-ish racial whatever it is, like that's for sure bouncing around in my head, you know?
Mhm.
But then all the reports are like two African American men. I'm like, this story has no character yet. It has no clear defined person it could be. It's all loose.
Right,
Then you have people, then there's no apparent dumping grounds. There's no, it's just woods, anywhere, any woods. At that point, I would have all the wooded areas on lock. like, like at that point, I would be like, all right, we need to enlist park rangers because apparently woods is the preferred method of getting rid of the body.
right. I mean, yeah. And but I'm pretty sure like back then too, like park rangers were probably in short supply.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, who
You
who
know,
they were doing what forest fire shit commercials.
yeah,
Or
grizzly bear attacks.
yeah,
Um, In February and March of 81, six more bodies were discovered, believed to be linked to the previous homicides. Among the deceased was the body of 21-year-old Eddie Duncan, the first adult victim. In April, 20-year-old Larry Rogers, 28-year-old John Porter, and 21-year-old Jimmy Ray Payne were murdered. Porter and Payne were ex-convicts and had just recently been released from uh, from the state prison. Arendelle State Prison, after serving time for burglary. On May 12th, 1981, FBI agents found the body of 17-year-old William Billy Starr Barrett on a curb in the wooded area near his home. A witness, 32-year-old Harold Wood, a custodian from Southwest High School, had run out of gas about a mile from the scene. Wood described a black man standing over and observing the location where the body was found before driving away in a white over blue Cadillac. During the end of May 1981, the last reported victim was added to the list, 27-year-old Nathaniel Carter. He was last seen by a gardener, Robert Henry, at the entrance of a theater in Atlanta, reportedly holding hands with Wayne Williams. His body was discovered 2 days later. Uh,
so
Investigator,
that's the first time dude's been mentioned right
right,
there.
right. That's the first time that he has been mentioned saying, "Oh, this kid was walking out of this place with Wayne Williams." And how odd is it? Like he's holding hands with him. He's
Yeah,
27. Obviously, it seems like Wayne Williams is gay.
yeah. So
He was
my
preying on young boys.
that's oh my god. So it's taken this long, this many bodies to finally get a face behind all of this.
Just to
Like,
get them like the little blip on the screen. Yeah.
yeah, just a name. This is the first indication of a name. It's like that person knew who he was, at the theater. He
Mhm.
like he knew who that guy is, probably frequented it, right? So that's the first time. I want oh man. Wow. I'm just putting stuff together in my head. I'm just like it's
It's crazy, man. Yeah.
to
Um,
have that many bodies tied to one person and not one of them until like now is the one that like, oh, I holding hands with that guy. Like at least there's a name.
right.
Before they had nothing except blue car, which fuck all. Like that's what database do they have then? What computer do they have? You know what I mean? To run
Right.
that, a blue car, got it. Like,
Nothing. Nothing. That's just a blank
yeah.
blank screen. Um, so an investigator created a map of the victims' locations. Despite the difference in ages, the victims fell within the same geographic perimeters. They were connected to Memorial Drive and 11 major streets in the area. Author Ginger Strand links the murders to freeway racism and Atlanta's massive urban renewal program that disrupted African American neighborhoods. There were significant delays in the beginning of the investigation. During the murders, more than 100 agents were working on the investigation. The city of Atlanta imposed curfews, and parents in the city removed their children from school and forbade them from playing outside. I mean, because obviously you're going to get snatched
I
up.
I wonder
Something's
I
going to happen.
I wonder if that's where it like started. I wonder if, you know, these a lot of areas don't have kids playing outside because of, let's say, gang violence, right? But I wonder if gangs arose to combat this kind of stuff happening. You know how kids just travel in gangs,
Hmm.
pretty
Yeah.
much groups. I wonder if that was like a built-in defense mechanism.
You know what? It could have been because it said that a lot of the gangs were came together for that type of reason to stop like police brutality, you know, people from doing bad stuff in the neighborhood, and
Yeah,
basically they were there. They were meant to help like protect their neighborhood.
community, the
Right.
community. Yeah,
It was supposed to be like all community and like yeah, we're gonna like band together. We're all gonna like stick together. You
the
watch my back, I'm gonna watch yours,
the
type of
concept of
thing.
the gang, the
Right.
concept of
Right.
the gang's business proposal
Right.
um, is community first.
Hmm.
But I wonder if that's where it all started, where kids started being afraid of the outside, like, or parents kept them in from being out because of things like this. Because I feel like it started somewhere, because we used to have free reign of neighborhoods, free
Hmm.
reign of the outside. And yes, of course, you had these terrifying stories of the bigger cities, right? Um, but we had less and less outdoor time generationally, like my my parents' generation. I'm pretty sure they were born and raised outside. Like they did not they were never inside. But let's say my son's generation, and no one's letting them just ride their bike anywhere. That's
Right.
just
I
not
mean,
how it is.
yeah. No. Um, yeah, I mean, it could have been. I'm totally on board with that. Like, it could be that gangs started popping up for to help protect their community so that stuff like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
You know. So as the media coverage of the killings intensified, the FBI predicted that the killer might dump the next victim into a body of water to conceal any evidence. So police staked out nearly a dozen area bridges, including crossings of the Chattahoochee River. Then, on the night of May 22nd, 1981, the police finally called a break. After weeks of surveillance along the Chattahoochee River, where several bodies had been found, officers heard a loud splash beneath a bridge. Rushing to the scene, another officer saw a white 1970 Chevrolet station wagon turn around and drive back across the bridge, speeding away. They stopped the driver about a half a mile from the bridge. It was 23-year-old freelance photographer, a music promoter named Wayne Williams as the driver. The Chevrolet wagon belonged to his parents. During questioning, Williams said he was on his way to audition a woman, Cheryl Johnson, a singer. Williams claimed she lived in the nearby town of Smyrna. 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 Police did not find any record of her or the appointment.
Hmm.
So he's driving along. Well, first they're staking out the bridges, right? They're hiding. They hear a splash. They all jump out. They see one of the cops sees Wayne Williams, a station wagon, driving. He turns around. He's coming back across the bridge. They pull him over. And he says, "Hey, I have this number, this lady. I'm just gonna go meet her." And they're like, "It's like 2 o'clock in the morning."
Yeah. Did they hear what did they find what the splash was?
I don't think so. They heard the splash, but they couldn't. They didn't. I don't think they found anything.
Oh,
You know,
but that's hey, that's name recognition right there. We've heard that before. His name.
right, right. Yeah, I don't think they found like like where
What
that
he
splash.
dumped.
But they heard something and they just couldn't. Now remember, this is a river, so it's constantly flowing. It's a big river,
Yeah. Oh
so
yeah, 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 for sure. But that's I
it's pretty crazy. You know.
that's but yeah, but to be honest, that sounds shaky as shit.
Yeah,
That whole thing sounds shaky as shit.
yeah. Because he's like, I'm a music promoter. I have this lady. I have an appointment to go see her, and I believe the story was he was just driving to like where I guess where they were supposed to meet. So he kind of knew the route.
Mhm.
And he was going to go meet her tomorrow, the next day, or something like that. He was like, I was just doing like a test drive just to see. And they're like, what are you talking? Like, why would you do that now?
But in order to stop someone for a splash that you can't back a splash is a splash is a splash. That sounds so shaky though. Like,
Mhm.
oh man, I don't know. I I hope it's like irrefutable because the way
Well,
they stopped this man.
here's the. I guess here's your answer to the question,
Okay.
right? So 2 days later, the nude body of 27-year-old Nathaniel Carter was discovered downstream, a few miles from the bridge where police had seen the suspicious station wagon. Based on this evidence, including the police officers' hearing of the splash, police believed that Williams had killed Carter and disposed of his body while the police were nearby. Fibers found on Carter's body matched those from Williams' home, car, and dog.
Yep.
Investigators connected similar fibers from other victims to Williams' belongings.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
So they can't say, it wasn't like, oh, I don't know what that was. Like, well, he's got fibers from your house on him. How did that happen if you didn't do it?
Yeah. Wow.
Fibers, right? So yeah, but again, they try to even they, I guess in a way they gave him the benefit of the doubt, and they were calling, they were trying to figure out who that the lady was.
Mhm.
There
Did
is
he
no
kill
such
her too?
person.
Oh, okay.
There's
He
no
was
such
just killing
person.
everyone, so he
I
killed
mean,
her too?
he might have disposed of her. Who knows? But it's she's she's not around.
Wow.
Never existed. She never came forward either.
So, okay, so they man, so how many buys did they put on him, man? All was it 20, we say 29? Something like that? Something
Something like that. But
ridiculous?
actually, no. They investigators who stopped Williams on the bridge noticed gloves and a 24-inch nylon cord sitting in the passenger seat. According to investigators, the cord looked similar to ligature marks found on Carter and other victims, but the cord was never taken into evidence for analysis. This is part of where the cops bumbled the case. Okay, they dropped the ball. It's like it's right there. There's evidence. Why isn't it taken into evidence? This could have it's like a slam dunk almost,
Oh my god.
and they didn't. Adding to a growing list of suspicious circumstances, Williams had handed out flyers in predominantly black neighborhoods calling for young people ages 11 to 21 to audition for his new singing group that he called Gemini. Williams failed an FBI administrative polygraph examination, though polygraph results are not admissible as evidence in criminal courts. Uh, yeah, so I mean, I think I said that already. Fibers from the carpet of Williams' residence were found unmatched those observed on two of the victims. Additional fibers from Williams' home, vehicle, and pet dog were later matched to fibers discovered on other victims. Furthermore, witness Robert Henry claimed to have seen Williams holding hands and walking with Nathaniel Carter on the night Carter is believed to have died. Um, on June 21st, 1981, Williams was arrested and a grand jury indicted him first degree murder in the deaths of Nathaniel Carter and Jimmy Ray Pine, age 22. The trial date was set for early 1982. Um, Jury selection began on December 28th. It lasted 6 days. 9 women, 3 men comprised of the jury, among which were 8 African Americans and 4 Caucasians. The trial officially began on January 6th of 82. Most important evidence against Williams was the fiber analysis between victims he was indicated of murdering, Jimmy Pine and Nathaniel Carter, and the 12 pattern murder case in which circumstantial evidence culminated in numerous links between the crimes. This evidence included witnesses who testified that they had seen Williams with the victims, and some witnesses suggested that he had solicited sexual favors. Um, Prosecution presents the case has been criticized to the extent that in some jurisdictions it might have resulted in a mistrial. In particular, 2 separate FBI special agents testified that the chances of the victims not having come into contact with Williams was virtually impossible, based solely on the comparative rarity of the fibers which were found on the victims, which seemed to match the fibers which were found on the suspect's car and home. After reviewing the case, Georgia Supreme Court Justice G. Smith deemed the evidence or the lack thereof inadmissible. On February 27th, 1982, after 11 hours of deliberation, the jury found Wayne Williams guilty of 2 murders.
Whoa.
2 murders. He was sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms in Georgia's Hancock State Prison in Sparta. After all that, he was only convicted of 2 murders,
Holy crap. Holy
right?
crap. So is that so according to the judicial system, the courts, that means the killer of the other 26 people is out there. According to them.
You
According
know what?
according to
What's
them.
actually interesting is, um, I think, I believe some of the mothers of the victims don't believe that he did it. They say it's the killer is still out there. Yes, he's free.
Whoa. But did the
Yeah,
killings of those kids of those that demographic stop? Like the 14 to what is it?
yeah. I mean,
11 to
after
14?
that, yeah, it seemed like they stopped. They weren't. I mean, I'm sure some kids had gotten killed at that age or whatever, but it wasn't as frequent as it was during that period. No. So,
Interesting.
okay,
So
during his trial, Williams became hostile and confrontational under cross examination, which some saw as damaging. He was caught bragging about misleading investigators in jailhouse recordings. He allegedly made racist comments about his victims, which contradicted his claims of being framed due to race. Um, yeah, so he really, like, some people said that kind of hurt him too, where he was like arguing with the other
yeah.
lawyers in there.
Well,
Um, there's a so here's a theory about that. Um, the KKK and a cover-up theory. Some believe that the Ku Klux Klan was responsible and that law enforcement covered it up to avoid racial tensions. FBI informants recorded KKK members allegedly discussing killing black children around the time of the murders. Some community members claimed that investigators focused on Williams too quickly, ignoring other leads.
hmm.
And there was a couple of witnesses. Remember, they said they saw 2 men. So
Yeah.
where's the second guy? So that's where I think some of the parents were saying it wasn't. Maybe it was him, but there's somebody else.
Yeah, like it
Who's the other
wasn't
guy?
just him. Because if you think about it, that is a massive body count
Yeah,
for one
in
dude.
such a short time. I mean, really, that
For
happened. It
for
seemed like it happened pretty quick.
and for a kid.
Right.
Like, cause he's not old and he's not like this 40-year-old devious mastermind. He's just sick.
Yeah.
But that
He,
amount of that amount of killing doesn't leave you a lot of downtime.
no.
So you're probably away because he's still at I'm assuming at the time he still lived with his parents,
Yeah, he was living
right?
with his parents.
So
But he was a little weird. He was a little weird. If you see like interviews of him, because there's an interview, because he actually went, the TV would go to his house before he was like officially arrested or anything. They
mhm.
like went to his house like staked out his house, and he would come out and he would like talk to them, and he was a little odd. Like some went all wasn't right with him
So there are people out there that think he was a patsy. He
in
was
a
the
sense.
fall
Yeah,
guy. He was the
right.
fall guy. Granted, he probably had his part, you know. He probably definitely played his part.
Hmm.
But yeah, I definitely think it's not necessarily a frame job because he did kill two individuals, right? For sure. By the ruling, he killed two people.
Again, supposedly he killed these two people.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
But definitely that amount of bodies dropping, living at home, it doesn't uh, or is my thing is it takes time. I feel like it would take a ton of like you wouldn't see your kid. He's out why? Because he's out there killing. That like that's his full-time job at that
Hmm.
point. Is he's just out there killing and disposing bodies. His mileage on his car must have been insane. You know what I mean? Like my thing is like not just sound insensitive. That takes a lot of energy
Okay.
and time, I assume.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, what is going on with the parents?
Right. Yeah.
If he's using their car, do they just like, oh, he's just out there
They
doing his
probably were just like, he's doing his thing. He's a
he's
freelance photographer.
he's not our problem.
He's a promoter. So he's out there.
He's
And again, he was hanging out where like all the young people were, and he was handing out flyers, and he was trying to do. He was going to be the next big thing, but I don't know. It's weird.
wow.
Um, So they're the multiple killers hypothesis. While Williams may have killed some of the victims, others may have been killed by different predators. The victims varied in age, from young children to adults, and the methods of killing were inconsistent: strangulation, gunshot, blunt force trauma. Some families of victims believe that the real killers are still unidentified.
Yeah, for sure. For
Uh,
sure.
some some cases bore similarities to serial pedophiles or child abductors, leading to speculation that a separate killer was preying on Atlanta's youth. Others argue that Williams was a convenient scapegoat, allowing police to close the case without fully solving them. In 2019, Atlanta authorities reopened the case, re-examining DNA and forensic evidence. Initial results did not conclusively prove Williams' guilt, but were also not enough to exonerate him. Some family members of victims still doubt his involvement, while others accept the official narrative. So Wayne Williams remains in prison, still denying any involvement in the Atlanta child murders. While forensic evidence tied him to some victims, many still question whether he acted alone or if he was wrongfully convicted to close a case that was spiraling out of control. What do you guys think?
Uh,
Uh, was he the lone serial killer, or was he just caught wrong place, wrong time? Who knows, right?
I
One strange thing, I saw an interview with them because I forget, I think it was like NBC, Dateline, or something like that. Interviewed him a few years ago, and they brought up the fact of CIA involvement. Supposedly, there was like a letter or some note or something that says, "Oh, so you were involved with like the CIA. The CIA came to you about recruiting you into something, like you're some kind of special forces or whatever." and he was like, I'm not allowed to talk. I can't discuss that." They're like,
I
"But just I'll read it to you. Tell me." And he's like, I will not discuss that." So, are you involved with the CIA? I cannot discuss that.
I
I think
just
he's full of shit, to tell you the truth.
yeah,
But
100%.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, CIA is going to randomly pick you up to be some kind of CIA operative and train in the woods and train kids or whatever to like shoot guns and stuff. Like, no, I don't. I don't buy that for a second.
That's
Uh, I think
yeah,
he.
I
I
don't
think
know.
he is guilty. I think he did take part in it. But when you hear more witnesses saying there was two people, he had involvement. I think he was one of the killers.
I think he's super young. It's not like he's 40, 50. I think there's no way someone carried out something that devious, that that because I wouldn't say planned out, right? These are crimes of opportunity, right?
Hmm.
It basically catfished him into
Hmm.
interviewing, or what is it called, like uh the, I don't know, yeah, no, interviewing for these spots that he would make, right, the next super
Hmm.
group, and he would get him in, kill him. That was a crime of opportunity, if that makes any sense. I think is what I'm saying, is basically baiting him in, right?
Yeah.
um which 100% is premeditation, which is, yeah, for sure. But I think, to the extent of that, I think if a young kid were to go off on that, it would be one or two. One or two, because he was what, 21 at the time of the first killings. He must have been like 19, 18, 19 years old by the time of the first killings. He must have been around that age. So I think if you
Yeah.
go back, if you backdate, because he got it and he was what, 20 something, 20
Hmm.
something, when
He
they
was
caught him
arrested
on the
what,
bridge.
23.
23. So
Yeah.
you backdate that, 23, so around early 20s,
Yeah.
1920, right?
Yeah.
When all this shit started happening. I definitely think there was something else. I think there was another group behind him, for sure, because a group could probably rack up that many bodies, and literally the group in question, the your what is it, the Klan, KKK,
Uh-huh. The
for
KKK.
sure. Because remember, you're talking about 1970s South, bro, you're talking about, they used to be the biggest, just, hate group out there
They're out there,
in the
right?
US, for sure. They had mad numbers. Um and I just, yeah, that's crazy to think about. That I definitely, I totally believe that, because they just vile human beings. So, yeah, I think it wasn't the dude. It was the dude for at least two of them, but not all of them. And I think that once he got pinched, they stopped that. They were like, "And we're done." That's as far as that goes.
That's the end of that.
Now we just do whatever else they do, like bomb churches, or kill other innocent civilians, or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's what they fucking do. Idiots. But yeah, that's I don't think it's that I don't think it's sorry. I don't think it's just him. I don't think it's just Wayne
So
Williams.
you don't
It's
think he acted alone, or you
I
don't think that you don't you don't think that he was the ringleader. You think he just was
No.
following along with somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I think because of his age,
Hmm.
and how, like, if you said he's off, usually those aren't the shepherds, put it that way. Those aren't the shot callers, those are the henchmen,
Hmm. Right.
you
I
know?
got you.
Those are the more, I would say, the feeble-minded that do what they're told.
All right.
And
Okay.
I think that he was doing what he was told, and he was definitely not the mastermind, because, yeah, I just don't see someone that young being a mastermind of anything. I just don't. One or two off chances, hate crimes. I get that. Like, I mean, I could go with you on that. I've seen enough SVU and crazy shit like that. One or
Right.
two,
Yeah.
but if you're talking about 29 bodies, I don't see that kind of number on a on someone that young,
Too
you
much,
know?
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if this happened in 19 whenever it did, right? And then they caught him in 2000 something, then I'd be like,
Hmm.
yeah, for sure, he has that body count, you know. But no, not in 3 years. That or 2 or 3 years. That's more than one person.
So let me ask you: do you think he was working with somebody, or do you think that like he helped somebody out, and then whoever he was helping out just went off and started rampaging through Atlanta?
No, I think a coordinated attack, like a terrible psyop thing.
Gone wrong.
Not even gone wrong, just like the the fucking Klan put out a psyop, including
Hmm.
killing kids, and I feel like that's what happened. Like
Mm.
they were just what is it? Like a cell of that acting on those orders
Mm.
because it makes sense as quick as they let's say definitely wasn't a solo job, but once he got pinched, they stopped because that was it. He took the fall for all of it. And then that is like the clean hands moment for the other crazies to be
Hmm.
like, okay, he got it. He got hit. We got away with everything else. So now let's focus something. Do another tactic. So they're
Hmm.
doing it until someone got caught, and once someone
Right.
got caught, that was it. So I just don't see it as a individual plan, because I feel like if you're going to go off on that level of hate, there would be signs. He would have had to have had what are those clan get ups called? Like the hooded cloaks and shit like that. He would have
Yeah.
had that somewhere in the house. He would have had correspondence with other known clan members. You know what I mean? Like he would have had a lot of that.
Yeah.
Around his either in his room or whatever. Right. And I
Well, I
think
mean,
back then they
it was
weren't
probably
really.
another black guy that was going around with him killing kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not, I don't think it was the. I honestly don't think it was the. I don't think the Klan had anything to do with it because they did. I think that would have been somebody from that side probably would have spilled the beans somehow.
Like, oh, you mean it's like the big group would have said something?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. At some point, you know.
I'm pretty sure
Or,
that's the first group they talked to.
well, that's the thing. That's what a lot of what do you call it? Or the parents were. That's what a lot of the parents were thinking. A lot of people were thinking at first, like, who's going around killing all these young black kids? It's got to
It
be the Klan.
has to be the clan.
And it's not very often. It's it's very rare that there is a black serial killer. It
Hmm.
doesn't happen. It's not as it's
Yeah.
mainly it's white guys.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
there have been black serial killers, and there has been, but it doesn't happen in the United States. It doesn't happen
Mm-mm.
as often as white guys do it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
So
just
that's why it took a little while to be like, well, it's not a black guy. There's no way it's a black guy.
because there's no profile for that. There's no way to profile that. It's like, wait, it's
Yeah.
obviously the yeah. Wow. Okay. So complete curveball.
Right. So that, and that's what a lot of parents were like. There's no way that it's a black person. No black guy's gonna go around killing black kids. It was
I
just
mean,
totally out of the norm.
and
You know?
unless it's like a hit paid for by the clan.
Yeah, but again, I feel like after time that would have came out at some
Yeah,
point.
true.
Somebody would have probably even from the clan side, somebody would have talked about it. It would have been said. It would have been mentioned, like, or that somehow that would have been like another theory that came out. So
Yeah, but my thing is I don't see him operating that shit alone. I
no, yeah, it's just too
can't.
weird.
It's too big. It's too big. Like because we've touched on some serial killers before, right?
Hmm.
But though their track runs have been a decade in the making,
Yeah.
They have had time, right? And they fit every profile of serial killer. Like they are the definition of it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and so it's just that's a weird one. That's a weird one. But man, the terror that this dude gripped the city with.
Yeah. I mean,
Something that
he's like shutting down the, and in a way, it kind of like backfired on him too. If he was like trying to promote like get a singing group together and trying to promote, like, hey, let's all get together and make a group and sing. But now nobody wants to go out and sing with anybody because they're scared that they're going to get killed.
it killed. Yeah. That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But
Wow.
yeah. Well, anyway, hey
Gee.
guys, leave what you think in the comments. Was he just a crazy guy, just went out serial killer? Or did he have help? Is it something else? Was it another theory? Something you guys might have thought about? Leave it in the comments.
Yes. Yes.
Let us
I
know.
I'm definitely interested because yeah. Wow. I'm gonna be bothered by that like all night. I'm like, what? Because when things don't like fit, it just irritates me. Like when it's not like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. No, none of this. That conclusion is just whack. Like, oh man, the fact that well, hear me out. The fact that he was just pinned for 2 out of the 20, almost 30 murders, like blows my mind.
Well, that's the kind of thing that gets me. I'm like, how is he only pinned for two?
And if he's like weird and like vocal about his craziness, right? If he's weird and vocal about his craziness, what's the difference between 2 and almost 30?
Hmm.
Wouldn't have it said something? Wouldn't that have been his in his weird world? Wouldn't that have been something to talk about? Aren't serial killers like unhinged like that? They'll brag about shit, you
Yeah,
know?
some of them are. Yeah.
And so they're obviously 100% off in up whatever is going on upstairs. That switch is off. But there's to me, you take a life, you're basically spending life or you're getting your life ended because
Hmm.
that's fair. You're serving pretty much 2 life sentences. What is the difference between another 29? Or,
Yeah. I mean, he's
like,
never getting out of prison. So why couldn't you just say, hey, well, I
unless
did.
didn't, unless he didn't do them, which
Well,
means
he still
there's,
keeps saying that he's innocent.
huh? Yeah,
He
no,
still keeps saying he's innocent.
of the other nearly 30.
Yeah.
Like, of the
Well,
other
he's actually saying of all of them, but yeah, he's like, I didn't kill anybody.
oh, no, he definitely did. No, 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 he definitely did. There's definitely bodies in his name. Um, but yeah, no, for sure, dude, definitely not alone, and definitely, I feel like the main perpetrator walked. I feel like the main perpetrator of all of it walked.
Somebody got away with it.
Yep, I feel like the main perpetrator walked, and and basically made this guy the fall guy.
Mm, hmm.
That's what it seems like, at least, because you're right. If you get pinched for 2, you're never seeing the light of day in the free world again. You have nothing. You have nothing to you have literally nothing to lose.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're not just.
So that's a weird one, though. That's crazy because you almost have to understand the psychology behind it all, and that's an impossible thing for sane humans to do. Is get on that side of the psychosis to understand the way they think, because it's impossible for us to do it because we're not that. So
Yeah.
it's fucking nuts, dude. Anyway,
Mm.
have there any
Well,
have there ever been any female serial killers?
yes.
Have there? Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get into that another time too.
Probably probably yeah. Yeah. Probably. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I was gonna say around Mother's Day. We should do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
And hey, thanks again, Dan, for joining us. And remember, guys, leave a comment, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We like to hear everything that your thoughts on this. And again, yeah, we'll definitely get it to females serial killers as well at some point. Definitely coming up. I'm thinking
Yes.
about it. But
Yep.
thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, peace.
Later.
In a world of shadows and hidden truths, we search for answers, we chase the clues. Yeah, a podcast